CATIA V5 Digital Mockup Optimizer Workbench. Let's take a look at the thickness feature and how that can add thickness to STLs. So within my previous video, I added the thickness feature onto a 3D scan of a hand, and this is still processing for quite a long time, so close to half an hour. And I initially added that to the whole model, and afterwards I removed the back face and apply it. But as you can see, CATIA is still struggling with those. Therefore, I will close those. I will close the Blender scene, and we're gonna take a look at some simple meshes. We're gonna start with a cube, a cylinder, and we're gonna see how that thickness from CATIA will work and how fast it can also process. So I will just close those two. So CATIA is not responding. I'm just gonna remove that. I will do the same over here with the following one. So close the program. And I already have a new instance open over here. Okay, so the second instance closed. I only have one CATIA instance left. Okay, I will use the default cube from Blender, File, Export, STL. This will have, as we can see over here on the statistics, little geometry. So all those should be converted into triangles as an STL. So on the desktop, I will call this cube Blender, selected objects only. And within digital mockup, I will select the product, go to insert, existing component. I will have the cube over here, so cube Blender. Okay, and if I want to add thickness over here, I can select the mesh. We're gonna see how those triangles will look over here. And I want to add, I don't know, maybe 10 millimeters, since this cube will be quite large. I will hit preview, and we're gonna see how that mesh will look. So this is offset 1 with 10 millimeter. Let me add just one. And I will add on the other direction 5. So we see that for the scaling, since this was an STL from Blender, this was actually imported smaller. So in this case, if I will add 1 millimeter, offset 2 will be the outside direction. Also, we see that CATIA will process this without any problems. So we already have the preview over here. If I will click save, afterwards I can have this re-exported as another STL. So this works for simple meshes, as we can see. Let's increase the difficulty by adding the Suzanne monkey over here. So I will go to mesh, monkey. Initially, I will save this without any subdivisions. So export, STL. I will call this monkey1, export selected only. And within CATIA, I will delete that. And I will insert the newly generated one, which will be monkey1. Again, we have the geometry load over here. We see the triangles. And if I want to add thickness, this 1 millimeter on the exterior, we're gonna see how that will look. Again, maybe we have some scaling problems over here. Since within Blender, if I will measure this all the way over here, we're gonna see that the monkey will have 2.7 meters. But since STL files don't inherit measurements, when we are gonna open this within CATIA, we're actually going to have only 2.7 millimeters, because CATIA default unit is set to millimeters, while Blender is set to meter. So I will just add a thickness of 0.02, and let's take a look at how that will look. And again, we're going to see that this will process without any problems. I will now increase the geometry over here, so I will select the mesh. I will press Ctrl 2 to add a subdivision. And now I will send this one as an STL. Monkey 2. selected only, go back to CATIA. I will delete the original one, insert existing component. I will select the monkey too. You're gonna see that the geometry now will be a lot finer, so we have a lot more triangles. Add thickness for the whole mesh. Again, I will go with the same value, 0.2. And we're gonna see that the preview and will work quite fast, and CATIA managed to add that without any problems. So we see that even for finer meshes like this, there won't be any problems, and we can rapidly use CATIA for that. Let's see if I will increase that subdivision a lot. So I will select the mesh over here, go to subdivision, and I will go to a finer model. For example, over here on level 5, we're gonna have the number of edges close to 1 million. So select this, export, STL. I will name this monkey 3, export it again, and let's add it. This will be the monkey 3 file. As you can see, this will load a little bit slower since it has 1 million edges, but from what I see, I think that CATIA won't have a problem with this one. So add thickness for this one, 0.01. I will hit preview. And let's see. Maybe for the hand, the software struggle with that difference within measuring units, but I'm not sure if that was actually the problem or not. Because like this, if I imported the hand from Blender, but I didn't have that scaled, so it was quite large. And maybe then that value of 2 should have been adjusted as well. Let me just import the hand over here to compare. So we see the monkey has 500,000 faces, and if I will import the previous used hand mesh on the desktop, it was actually from downloads because this was an WRL file. So I need to go to import, afterwards WRL, downloads, hand, and let's import that hand. So we see now the number of vertices close to the number of faces, so over 500,000. And let's see with that hand, because the hand will no doubt be a lot heavier, but we see that in this case the hand is actually smaller, so only 500,000. And we see that the size of the hand is 1,000 times larger, so by adding that default thickness of 1 or 2, it should be up to scale, even though CATIA uses millimeters and Blender uses meters. Again, we have this set to thickness not responding, and knowing CATIA, this will actually take a lot of time to process. As I said within my previous videos, for some meshes I even let my computer try to solve that mesh for several hours, and it still didn't manage to process it. But if I want to do the same within Blender, it will just do it in let's say several seconds, up to 1 minute in most cases if the mesh is quite dense. So this is why I prefer to add Blender to CATIA V5 reverse engineering workflow, because the processing capabilities, as we can see, are not that great. It works fine on small meshes, but when you are actually dealing with 3D scan models, you will not have small 3D models, only if you're gonna decimate those and try to convert them afterwards, but that will also remove a lot of the details from the model. Okay, so I hope you enjoy this kind of content, and keep in mind that you can use CATIA V5 to add thickness without any problem, just like we saw over here. So if you enjoyed this kind of content, consider to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and also consider to add a comment if you have anything to add regarding this. So that's it. Thanks for watching.